It's now 25 years since Hong Kong was returned to China, following 156 years under British rule. As you can imagine, the West are having a hard time coping with China's celebrations, despite the fact that Hong Kong was initially taken by brute military force after Britain's illegal shipments of heroin to China were confiscated and destroyed by the Qing dynasty. Here's a quick look at the history. By the 1800s, Britain had grown extremely fond of Chinese goods, mainly tea and china. British merchants were making a lot of money bringing Chinese goods back to Britain, but they encountered a bit of an issue. Britain didn't have anything China wanted to buy back, so there was a huge trade imbalance. Britain decided to play dirty, growing opium, the key ingredient of heroin, in British India for shipment to China in the hope of making enough back in the illicit trade to fund their new addiction to tea. Don't forget, heroin was illegal in China, but Britain was desperate to even out that trade imbalance, so who cares, right? Before too long, obviously, China had millions of heroin addicts, which, rightfully so, worried the government, who decided they had to act. In May of 1839, Britain's chief superintendent of trade, a man named Charles Elliot, was forced to hand over more than 1,400 tons of the drug that was being stored in a warehouse in Canton for illegal distribution into China. It was then destroyed, which angered the British side and eventually led to the First Opium War, where the British smashed China militarily. China was then forced to sign the Treaty of Nanjing, the first of the so-called unfair treaties, which ordered the emperor to not only pay the British for the destroyed opium, but also to cover the cost of the war, open more ports to accept British heroin, and give up Hong Kong, which would be used as a trading port to boost the drug trade. I just want to say it one more time in case you didn't quite get it. Britain took Hong Kong from China by force. After China destroyed tons and tons of illicit drugs Britain was illegally smuggling into the country. It really is that simple. The Treaty of Nanjing is seen as the beginning of China's century of humiliation,